Wow, Donald Trump looks absolutely horrible as he is all alone, rotting right now in Mar-a-Lago, hiding from the press. He is putrid on the inside and the outside. He is continuing to blow up his term, officially the least popular presidency in American history at this point in time. And the American people, despite all of Donald Trump's attempts to try to break us, the American people are resilient. Let me show you what Donald Trump was doing throughout the day and into the morning. I'll show you this maniac behavior, but the American people aren't standing for it, not one bit. Of course, you have Donald Trump engaging in more crimes, violating the Epstein Transparency Act, not only not producing the required records, redacting unlawfully the small amount of records that were produced, but also destroying or removing records that were produced that accidentally had like a photo of him. Those photos were deleted from what was already produced, a clear violation of the law. I will do an entire other video on that in 90 minutes, so check back then. You have the Trump regime trying to create distractions and provoke war. I mean, you had yesterday, or 2 days ago rather, you had the United States conduct airstrikes in Syria against what it claims to be ISIS in Syria. You know, these ISIS-related factions in Syria, which actually have relations with the government there. You know, the leader who Donald Trump loves and Trump calls handsome, the former leader of Al-Qaeda. You know, they killed our troops last week. And I think for a lot of Americans, we're like, wait a minute, we have troops who are patrolling Syria. And Donald, didn't you say you utterly destroyed ISIS? But now ISIS is killing our troops. So about 2 days ago, you had the Department of Defense announced airstrikes in Syria. Then yesterday, you had the United States seize another oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. This time, this tanker was not one of the sanctioned tankers. It was a Panamanian flagged tanker, which really belonged to China, carrying about 2 billion barrels of oil from Venezuela to China that the United States seems to have unlawfully seized. And what you have taking place, again, going after unsanctioned tankers, what's happening is the United States wants to provoke this war, and they want to have any pretext to be able to do it. And what's the Trump regime saying now? You know, right? The way Putin is like, we need to go after our historical territorial lands in Ukraine. That's why we have a special operation. It's denazification and going after our historical territorial lands, right? That's what Putin says. People are like, what are you talking? Denazification? You have Zelensky, who's Jewish. It's not your historical lands. What are you talking about? Just complete and utter nonsense and lies. And we're like, well, that's crazy stuff. Trump does the same thing. Trump and Putin think alike, right? So first Trump's like, we're going after Venezuela because they're narco-terrorists. Venezuela is not sending any drugs to the United States. Not Venezuela, not cocaine, not fentanyl. That doesn't come from Venezuela. Certainly not fentanyl. So then what the Trump regime's saying now is they stole our land. He goes, Venezuela stole our land and they stole our oil. That's exactly the type of stuff that Putin says about Ukraine. Trump's literally using that playbook. I'm like, what are you talking about? Can you stop getting the United States of America into a war right now? The people here in the United States are suffering. People, if they're lucky enough to get a paycheck, are suffering, being psychologically tortured, living paycheck to paycheck under this horrible Trump economy. Right now, people can't afford rent. They can't afford homes. Healthcare is being ripped away from them as Trump and the MAGAs refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. And this is what Donald Trump's doing, provoking war, covering up the Epstein files, using the war to cover up the Epstein files. Enough is enough. By the way, folks, hit subscribe. The MeidasTouch YouTube channel. We're on our way to 6 million subscribers. As you know, we lead all independent media across the board, and we get more views than Fox now. We need to stay ahead of them. You may think you're subscribed, but you may not be subscribed. So please double check that you actually are subscribed. I mean, just take a look, though, at what this maniac is doing, what this Trump regime is doing right now. So you have Donald Trump. Just look at the announcements that were just made while the American people are suffering. Trump is rebranding America to honor himself. So, of course, by now, you know that Trump has rebranded the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts to the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Memorial Center. A memorial for you. You know it's congressionally authorized to honor a fallen president, hence the word memorial. And Trump's doing this unlawfully, vandalizing the building. But it's not just that. Look what else this maniac is doing. And I'm sure you've seen this, but this ties it all together. He unlawfully named the Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C. after firing their board, the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace. He's been putting massive banners of his face across federal buildings. He changed the America Beautiful annual national park passes to have his face and George Washington on it. He's putting his face on the $1 coin, and he made it the $1 million Trump gold card. He calls it the Trump gold card, $1 million and $5 million Trump gold cards. And then on Friday, he says he's doing Trump RX. So this is where the pharmaceutical companies will post their prices on Trump RX. Come on. Absolutely pathetic behavior right here. And American, we don't want a Saddam Hussein and a Kim Jong-un. We just want a grown-up and adult who delivers for the American people, who listens to us, who listens to the pain that you're going through as a result of Trump just supporting the billionaires. But Donald Trump doesn't care. He'll continue to gaslight. It's posts like this that he's been making throughout the day. Lower prices, bigger paychecks, more jobs, a stronger economy for American families. Nah, sorry. You could be posting that, but that's not what's happening. And when you post stuff like that, it makes the American people even more pissed off at you. I'm going to do an interview this morning, check back in a few hours with North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein. Donald Trump's approval in North Carolina right now is negative 16%. In North Carolina, because people know that this guy is a freaking maniac. And by the way, Governor Stein's approval plus 30%. Just think about that contrast. Trump, negative 16, Governor Stein, plus 30%. Then you have Trump reposting Peter Navarro, payrolls stronger than expected. Workers are re-entering the workforce. The exact opposite. Unemployment's ticked up to 4.6%, and I believe it's heading to 5% and even higher. Trump, your unregulated perspective of AI is allowing AI to replace the jobs of workers without any protections at all. You're building these data centers, by the way, which are driving up energy prices for everybody by 13, 15, 20%. Y'all have seen your energy bills lately? Yeah, it's unaffordable, okay? And that's what's going on under the Trump regime. They're posting this stuff on the White House account. All we needed was a new president. Let me bring in Justin Wolfers, economist at University of Michigan. Here's what he had to say on CNN about jobs. And he's just giving you the data. I'm a data person. I love receipts and facts and numbers and charts. I care about the data. Let's just talk about the data. Here, play this clip.
And in terms of your crystal ball, looking into what we can expect for 2026, I mean, we saw 3 rate cuts in 2025. All things being equal, what are we going to expect next year? More rate cuts, deeper rate cuts? Your thoughts, Justin?
Let me pivot your question a little bit. I'm happy to answer it, Zane, but rate cuts and bond markets and stuff, that's a lot of interest to the financial sector. But for the folks at home, what really matters is, are they able to find work? Are their jobs stable? Are they able to get pay rises? And what we see is that the labour market has slowed quite substantially, that the next batch of kids who graduate are going to find it a lot harder to find work, that the folks who are in jobs that they don't really like right now are finding it harder to switch. And the folks who are looking for a pay rise in order to catch up with inflation are finding it harder to get those pay rises. These numbers really are quite pessimistic about where we are, the lack of progress, and in fact, the steps back we've made over the last few months. Zane, if I'm sounding more worried to you than I've sounded in months, it's because I am.
But Donald Trump doesn't want to talk about the data. Here are the emails that he's sending to his supporters right now. I subscribe, so you don't have to. I don't love subscribing and reading these, but I think it's important to see the brainwashing tactics and the desperation by Donald Trump and his regime. All these are real. This is not AI. These are real messages that Donald Trump is sending. Are you mad at me, Ben? It's been a while since I heard from you. Is this Ben? I tried to call you. Here's what I need. Ben, should I give tariff savings back to you? Did I do this wrong? Do you want a tariff savings check? I'm testing something, Ben. Hello, are you there? Please confirm receipt, Ben. I'm attaching a letter I wrote for you, Ben. And the emails look like this. Are you mad at me? Because it's been a while since I heard from you. I tried to call you. This is important. This is the only tariff rebate email authorized by President Trump. Ben, would you accept a tariff rebate check signed by Trump? It's a photo of Donald Trump holding $100 bills as if he's handing it to his supporter. And it says, would you accept this tariff rebate check? And when you click it, would you accept a tariff rebate check? It makes you pay Donald Trump money. He ain't giving you a tariff rebate check. He ain't giving you a Doge dividend check. Heck, when he claimed he was giving a warrior dividend to our soldiers, he stole the money from the housing allowance that was allocated to our soldiers from Congress. He stole it and then gave it back to them, right? A reverse Robin Hood. He gave it back to them in the form of a 1776 check with his name on it when Congress wanted it to go to housing, to help our soldiers with housing when they leave their bases. But this is what this maniac is doing right now. Let's talk about, just a few other things before we go. You have the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, right now saying that she wants to prevent any bloodshed in Venezuela, as Donald Trump seems to be trying to provoke a war there, and he's also threatening a war within Mexico as well. And I showed you this, in other videos, but I'll just show it again quickly. You have Pete Hegseth saying, this was the strikes in Syria. Earlier today, U.S. forces commenced Operation Hawkeye Strike in Syria to eliminate ISIS fighters, infrastructure, and weapon sites in direct response to the attack on U.S. forces that occurred on December 13th in Palmyra, Syria. This is not the beginning of a war. It's a declaration of vengeance. The United States of America will never hesitate to relent to defend our people. Didn't Donald Trump say he wiped out ISIS? And it should be noted that the terrorist involved in that attack had significant affiliations with the current leader of the Syrian transitional government. Focus a lot on Syria, folks, because that Syrian trend, this is going to come up, I predict March or April for sure, in my view, in 2026. So go back with the receipts. That Syrian transitional government is getting weaker by the day. ISIS is asserting itself in Syria. A lot of these factions are asserting themselves in Syria because what they saw was the leader go to the White House and get sprayed with perfume by Donald Trump and sniffed by Donald Trump, who keeps calling him handsome, which weakens the leader of Syria. If your goal was to prop up the leader of Syria, you don't do it that way. And all these people in Syria are looking at the guy like, you let him do that to you and you're selling out. And this is how they view it, that you're selling out the people of Syria at this point for Donald Trump. So focus on there. We'll be providing more information there as well. And let me leave you with this, though, because this video passed my feed, and I think it just shows you how phony all these Trump regime people are. This is 2019, what J.D. Vance had to say. Let's play this clip.
I did this event at the Yale Federalist Society recently where they asked me for my 3 favorite Democrats purely in terms of policy outcomes. And I said, in order, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Tulsi Gabbard.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Right? The guy looks like a different guy. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.